What would you say is the stuff that's worked for you so far in terms of the business side, and what would you say hasn't worked well so far?
The things that have worked is basically showing my competency around what I do, why it's different to what other people have been doing.
Yep.
What hasn't necessarily worked, probably not expressing that I've worked with that big a variety of people, and people just assume, all right, well, all he does is combat sports and that's it.
I would be thinking, looking at something like that, your YouTube has to become an absolute machine. Like it has to be a machine. Really, when people say they have no time, it just means they have different priorities. Because if something's massively high priority,
you'll do it.
Time doesn't matter. So I think it's really just more about setting, oh shit, if I do this well, if I do a YouTube product and newsletter insanely well, like you're gonna be doing 7 figures a year, and it'll just take time. I view my own brain as a lizard. Like I've got a lizard brain, and I have to program my lizard brain the same way someone would program an AI to just be like, we are doing this. This is the direction, and you have to consciously do that 5 times a day. The avatar is people who resonate with this outcome. So all your stuff has to become about the outcome. The outcome is like Bruce Wayne. You become Batman. Fucking, you're a year away of routine from whatever you want. Because this is like sexy as fuck. All right, mate. Beautiful to have you here. I'm very, very grateful for the time. For everyone in the audience, we've got Jack Crucial, also known as the combat therapist, here today, who's been very, very good of him to give us some of his time on a Saturday morning. So we'll just let that be known. Very great man. Obviously dressed to the nines as always. But what we wanted to do today is just do a bit of a deep dive, sort of a consulting session style, where we can go back and forth on how we would add hopefully a good amount of revenue to your business and get you to whatever business goals that you're looking to get. So this should be a really, really value-packed video. It's going to be like sort of a live consulting session, more or less. And we can just jump straight into it. If you want to introduce yourself, give myself and everyone else a bit of background about where you're at, where you're looking to go, and then we can just sort of dive straight in.
Yeah, sounds good. So my background is originally in physiotherapy, and then from there, when I first started in that career, realised that there was a massive gap in the market in the sense of not many strength and conditioning coaches knew how to rehab injuries, not many physios knew how to get strength and conditioning guys or have the skill set that strength and conditioning guys have. So I've kind of merged those two things together, and then by proxy, I've kind of tried to make the rehab process a lot more appealing than it currently is. A lot of people think you go and see someone you go and see a medical professional, chiro, physio, you get a few banded exercises and then you're off and running. So I've tried to make it a lot more appealing, because for me, because I was an athlete that had an injury myself, had very poor experiences with the system. So because it's impacted me personally, like it's been something that I've been very passionate about actually improving on a large scale, and obviously gained a bit of traction from that. Main platforms that I have is probably Twitter as the number one, but now like YouTube's growing steadily. Instagram, I've had some success on there as well. So that's kind of where I'm at the moment in terms of like what I actually, the skill sets that I have. So, and basically very few people, I work with very few people in person. Usually it's just like friends or referrals and things like that. Majority of my business is now online just because of the leverage of that.
So you're kind of like that classic situation. If you had a problem yourself with sort of the physio industry and getting an injury, and you're like, let me just solve that, and then started posting about it online, got a bit of traction. Obviously made some really good content so far, and also sort of in the MMA space, which I think is a really great growing industry. And we can get into that in a bit. But I'd be curious, so having sort of almost a content business where you're making this great content can sometimes be hard to monetize depending on who you've got in there as an avatar. What would you say is the stuff that's worked for you so far in terms of the business side, and what would you say hasn't worked well so far? It's kind of a double-sided.
When you say with content production specifically?
With the business side. So your content, from what I've seen, has been a triple plus. Like really great content, really good at getting traffic, really good at, I would imagine, really nurturing that attention that you're getting and making really sick stuff. But I'm curious about how you've gone about monetizing that so far to this point.
So my strategy, when I first started, it was pretty direct response-ish in the sense that acquired a lead on email or even DM, and then had a back and forth, got on a call with them, and then saw if we were a fit. Like because I work with such few people, I make sure that like I'm not just trying to get anybody in if I know that they're not going to be a fit. Because unfortunately with the marketing space of injury rehab, a lot of people think this one exercise is going to completely resolve your injuries. That's just the way that people want quick fixes. I completely understand that. It's just not realistic. And I'd rather, and it's probably why I've been around for as long as I have. Like I've seen a lot of, especially on Twitter, I've seen so many people just, they might do well for 1 or 2 years, but then they die in the arse because what they're actually selling isn't not necessarily ethical, but also it's not actually the best thing to get people results. So I think the things that have worked is basically showing my competency around what I do, why it's different to what other people have been doing. What hasn't necessarily worked, trying to think of, to give you like a clear-cut example of that.
Would it be mainly sort of the budget of your ideal customer? Would you say it's...
I think in the MMA space, absolutely. And that's why like I've worked with a lot of athletes across, because the people think, oh, combat therapist, assume martial arts, which is fair. And that's kind of why I've hybridized. I've got my name and then I've got the combat therapist after the fact, because I do, most of my client base is a mixed bag of, it might just be a bodybuilder, has a sore shoulder, has had bad experiences with physios, sees me, might be a soccer player, ankle injury. Like I've helped a broad range of different people. And that's probably been the thing as well. It's like probably not expressing that I've worked with that big a variety of people, and people just assume, all right, well, all he does is combat sports and that's it. So, and obviously if I'm wanting to purely go down that route, that's probably going to be the biggest limitation, is because everyone that I've spoken to in the strength and conditioning space, they're like, yeah, well, fighters, if you're a professional fighter, if you're an amateur fighter, they just don't have the capital in order to work with me one-on-one to the capacity where it's actually going to be the best business decision for me. Like I've done that out of just obviously wanting to help those athletes, but long term, it's not, that's been the biggest limitation by far, is that monetary aspect.
Okay. So the cash of the ICP is really challenging. Okay, so what sort of stuff have you sold? Have you sold multiple different offers to this point? Or have you just been selling like, because you have the one-to-one, you have programs that you can sell, but that's also good content that you could post to get traffic. What have you cycled through offers-wise, and what's been kind of your reflection on those things?
Basically 95% of the time it's been one-on-one stuff. I think that was because I didn't want to be that like Gumroad individual. And it's just the nature of, I think this is just what I've seen across my experience in business. I think the way that you should run a business should be a reflection of how you would go about consuming a product or service. And that's definitely like, I would rather work with fewer people, do a phenomenal job. And I've changed some people's lives by helping them with certain injuries that they've had. Like I've had guys with 10 years of issues. We've fixed that in like six months. That's a very, like that's
crazy.
That's a profound impact on their lives. So, and I know that requires, I need to change their beliefs around how they feel about their injury, because there's a lot of like, pain is super complex. So yeah, 95% of the time it has been one-on-ones. I dropped a neck guide for free just for the culture. That did incredibly well. Got, I think, like 500,000 impressions on just like the VSL Sizzler for that. And then I even just did a trial run of a shoulder guide. I sold that. I didn't promote it a ton. I'm probably going to, I'm revamping the second version of that just because I want to have something. Because the thing is as well, I think, yes, I've posted a lot of content, but I think it's also good to see how I structure my principles around rehab as well. And I think the best way to do that is through because the program that I'm building out, it's almost like an educational video course with a program attached to it. So you could technically save $10,000 on an unnecessary surgery for your shoulder by consuming the course. Like that's my mission for that. And I've even got I'm building out a free one that's 98% done, which it's got a lot of that stuff in there. It's covers why their past treatments might have failed, why exercise is actually the best solution for an injury, most common shoulder injuries, giving a ton of value for that free stuff. And then if they want to buy the program, you've got upsells through the actual protocol itself. So it's mainly been one-on-one, but I've also played around with the idea of dropping programs as well. Because I don't want the bottleneck to be that it's always one-on-one stuff and I'm not maximizing a leverage play by having programs out there. Because I'm sure there's a lot of people that bought those programs that just couldn't afford to work with me, and that's why they did that.
So when you say program, what do you mean by a program? Because some people say programs and they do mean like they have a PDF and they're just saying it's a program. And some people say we've got a 12-month one-to-one kind of style. So can you tell me a bit more about that?
So the way that that's structured is it'd be like a be your own therapist DIY setup. And the way that I've structured it is more as a video course in a way that you've got the intro. For the example of the shoulder, you've got like common shoulder presentations, when and when not to get surgical opinion, when to get cortisone injections, when not to get cortisone injections, and then actually having the actual protocol itself. So which would be like a 6-phase from phase 1 is like the earliest stages of an injury, and then they ascend all the way through. So basically it's using all of my systems that I would use with a client with obviously without the direct contact with me. So that's how it's set up.
And you're selling that at what price do you think?
I've sold it at £150 before.
Oh, that's light.
Yeah.
It's real cheap.
So
it's very accessible.
Yeah. And I wanted to make it accessible because at the end of the day, I don't think that there's very good resources out there for injuries. Like the shoulder program I've built, and I've actually built this with one of the best rehab experts in the world, and I'm giving him a cut of it because I just want to be able to say, I can guarantee that this is the best course that exists for shoulders. And I've spent probably like 10 grand just buying everybody else's shoulder stuff just to affirm that it is the best. So, but yeah, pricing, I wanted to make it accessible, because then if I'm making it super expensive, then I'm not actually helping the people that can't afford to work with me one-on-one in the first place.
Yep.
So
that's interesting. So you're very concerned, and I shouldn't say concerned because it's a word that suggests there's some sort of like scarcity there, but you're very obsessed with being the best. So what do you think would hold you back from getting rewarded in the marketplace for being the best?
Let's go through that again for me.
So what do you think would hold you back from not being acknowledged and rewarded as being the best?
Probably dropping some dog shit Gumroad $29 ebook that's been slapped together by a VA.
Yep. So what else? So dropping bad shit.
That's probably the main one. Because the thing is as well, like, I don't want to be associated with even like being a guru or anything like that. Like that's why I don't post basically any lifestyle stuff, because I want to be known for what I actually know, not the lifestyle that I live. And I've purposely done that. And I know like it's lifestyle stuff sells well, and I think I could pump that quite successfully, but it's also like, that's just my personality. I don't want to be someone who, going to Bali in a couple of months, I need to have some videographer with me everywhere. Like that's just not real life. I don't want to have to live a life where I'm behind the lens all the time. I'd rather make really high quality stuff. Obviously it'd be more curated, similar to like this studio setup. But then like once I've made that, I can go and enjoy my life instead of like trying to impress people that I'll never meet. Like the whole Rolex flexing, all that stuff, it just doesn't interest me at all.
It's a very interesting topic in terms of like the way you'd go about content. Because in my opinion, the only thing that would mess you up is traffic and brand.
Yeah.
So if you became the biggest high performance person in MMA, I think a lot of that is going to have to do with, so branding, meaning like the associations you make, like who are you around?
Yeah.
And then traffic, meaning you don't want to necessarily push lifestyle stuff, but you want to push stuff that has so much utility in terms of obviously how good the information is, but also
it's got to be inspiring as well.
How good it feels and how inspiring it is.
Yeah.
So that's a topic where I would probably want to tap into that a bit, because when I look at a business that's like MMA coaching or fitness coaching or anything along those lines, it's like you need traffic.
Yeah.
You need traffic very badly. And then you also need some sort of big idea behind the marketing campaign to get people to continually buy in to the actual offers and to the stuff that you're going to sell. Getting the traffic for you is probably, it's not going to be an issue, because you can create stuff that's very high utility and also very good.
Yeah.
In terms of how it looks and things like that. So in terms of what you're planning to do content-wise, what's in your mind at the moment?
That's probably the biggest bottleneck as well, is I can make stuff at a very, very high level. It's just the volume of that content takes a while at the moment, just because like I've funneled through a lot of different video editors, haven't been happy with, I've got a good one now, but it's taken me a while to find someone who I've been happy with. So I think that's probably the biggest bottleneck for that would be just like literally doing what I'm doing, but doing it more, like doing more of it.
Yeah, that's what I would think.
Yeah,
because your stuff's really good. Like if I pull up your YouTube channel right now, I remember watching your videos and thinking, holy shit, this guy's really good at content.
Yeah, like
this guy can make some bangers. The one thing that I would say is
I need to get good at making a lot of that high level stuff.
Yeah, like what sort of systems you have behind your content creation?
It's not... Well, what I was planning on doing next would be, as I'm rolling out the second shoulder protocol, is basically like top of funnel stuff would be similar, like the sparring video that I've made, how to train MMA as a complete beginner. So like have specific top of funnel videos, because my understanding of YouTube based on the people that I've learned from is that the idea, if you're wanting to reach the largest audience for a video, the idea is 80% of it. So the packaging, so the title and the thumbnail, that makes up a huge proportion of people actually clicking in the first place. And then obviously you need to win their attention for the rest of the video. So, but at the same time, I don't think, like as an example, that sparring brain damage video that I made,
40k views.
Yeah,
at this point,
yeah, it's not bad, but it's also, do I think that specific video is going to lead directly to me showing all the competency that I have in my specific skill set? Not necessarily, but it's a good play to grow subscribers so that, they're interested in brain damage. They might also have a shoulder injury. Like most combat sport athletes are going to have an injury that they're suffering with. So I think having like my basic strategies, like I've got specific ideas for top of funnel stuff. Even another top of funnel video I'm wanting to make is like covering why you have to have another side other than just being like this brawler fighter thing. Because you look at most people that you respect in general, like even captains of platoons and stuff, they're not at the front lines doing the grit work. So I think having both of those, that's kind of the message that I want to spread in martial arts, is having the brute force aspect, but also being refined at the same time, which is it's very juxtaposed, but that's something that people have resonated with a lot, especially on Twitter. Like I've had lawyers, doctors, things like that tell me that you've somehow made something that is far from luxury look elegant and more like a premium type of sport, like your F1 and all these other things. So that's kind of just like my aesthetic taste in the first place. And obviously you can't replicate that. And I do think I have good taste. So yeah, in essence, like I've got those top of funnel videos. Middle of funnel might be like how to rehab a rotator cuff injury, how to rehab a shoulder dislocation, and then have those as like proper 30-40 minute videos where I'm covering, because that's the thing as well, like all the advice that I've gotten is basically if it takes you a month to make a really good video, you're better off focusing on that instead of like ripping out every 3 days dog shit videos. So, but it also depends on your objective. But I think I've got like top of funnel stuff just to grow the channel, middle and bottom of funnel stuff to really show my competency with what I'm doing, and then either funnel that into working one-on-one or the program stuff if that's the play.
100%. And looking at your content and looking at the style that you're doing, I 100% agree on that recent how to not get brain damage video while training. That's great. I would not promote a shoulder lead magnet on that. I would just promote mixed martial arts for beginners lead magnet.
Yeah.
So what you're going to have to do, in my opinion, the way that I would approach that, let's say we partner up today and you ask me, Leo, how do I make this an 8-figure business? How do I make this a 7-figure business? I would immediately be thinking, on all of these 30-40 minute videos, there has to be some sort of relevant free course. There has to be some sort of relevant lead magnet that goes to your list. You have to email that list all the fucking time. That is your middle funnel. So you don't necessarily have to go ahead and promote paid stuff. Much, much higher authority, and it's better for branding to almost never promote paid stuff. Like you never want to promote a $150 thing, but you have those things available in the DMs because people will ask you, on your list because people will ask you. Then all of a sudden, you have these sick lead magnets that act as your middle of funnel. So if you start looking at, like for example...
Because that was my intention for the shoulder protocol, is have a free the free guide, and then if they want the actual sets, reps, exercises, they can buy that.
Yes.
So I'm still giving them value no matter what.
So you have your Insta. Your 2 traffic sources will be Insta and YouTube, yeah?
Yeah, I've been focusing more on Twitter and YouTube, to be fair. Just because like I can't be asked for short form stuff at the moment.
You have Twitter. So yeah, I'll rub this off then. So you have
Twitter, YouTube, and emails are my 3 main focuses, just because of the time availability that I've got.
Yeah, so I suppose Insta can come later.
Yeah.
So you have Twitter, YouTube.
Into email.
Oh, fuck. I'll be sending these to lead magnets.
Yeah.
So this is like content-specific lead magnets. So I'd be having, I'd be having LM1.
Yeah.
I'd be having LM2. And these are all your how to start mixed martial arts, hybrid training, and then obviously this just continues, getting a bit shoddy there. So these just continue.
Yeah.
And for example, this is sort of how to start martial arts without getting brain damage. This is a shoulder, this is a neck, this is a X, Y, and Z.
Yeah.
And then within these, let's say this is your actually, let's say it's your shoulder, because this is what you're...
That's what I'm cooking up.
That's what you're thinking of doing. So you have your shoulder guide.
Yeah.
Off this, you have paid, product, and then this is where you'd have this can be either a different offer or the same offer. You can have 1-to-1 or mastermind. Because based on what you're saying, the deluxe stuff really resonates with you. I love the deluxe stuff as well.
Yeah.
I think that's a really good way to say, like, everyone in the fitness space, in the whatever space, has done it this way.
Yeah.
I want to do it this way. And there is a risk there, because when you're trying to do something new, there's a risk that, hey, no one's done it this way. Maybe there's a reason that no one's done it that way.
Yeah.
But if I was going to be thinking, I don't want to do it the way that everyone else does it, and I don't care what happens as long as I do it my way.
Yeah.
This is the way that I'd be looking at it.
Which I'm very much, that's my personality to a T.
Exactly, which is your personality. And it's kind of like what you said to me, for context to the viewers. I gave you a ring the other week.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, what do you think about the branding stuff? What do you think about putting this in terms of the content? And you're just like, well, it really is all determined by who you are. And if you don't have a really strong sense of what you want to do and who you are and what you want to promote and what you want to be like in 5-10 years, it's going to be very difficult to have a brand. The benefit of yourself is that you've got a very strong idea of what you want.
Yeah.
And if what you want is, I kind of hate how people promote this complete bullshit in the industry. I kind of hate how everyone does this. I would be thinking, looking at something like that, your YouTube has to become an absolute machine. Yeah. Like, it has to be a machine. And it doesn't look like it's that difficult for you.
I just need to build a system, that's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You've already got great videos. And even the how to build a thick neck video, that is one that could have easily got 100,000 views. It just didn't necessarily get picked up.
Yeah.
Whether it was in the fulfillment of the video or whatever it may have been.
Yeah.
That's stuff that can go viral. One thing that I immediately see when I look at this, though, is I think with the podcast that you've got here, it looks like you've kind of gone a little bit, this is going to be middle or bottom of funnel. I can't position it as viral.
Yeah.
But I think that's a limiting belief. Because if you have that belief, I'd be looking at my first million. I'd be looking at stuff that people do with podcasts you can get top of funnel on a podcast. You throw a hook on it, and then the story becomes you interviewing a person. Because, for example, you've interviewed Anthony Joshua's head physio here, Rob Madden.
Yeah.
You could have gone a lot harder on that title.
Yeah.
And gone, Anthony Joshua's trainer reveals how to desired result.
True.
And all of a sudden, it's not here. It's all the way up at the top of funnel. You can get tons of views, and you're also focusing on the associations, which is what we discussed as well, because he's on your podcast.
Yeah.
So that's an immediate, quick win where just by really focusing, and I think like the immediate action point on that is that your number one is going to be YouTube.
Yeah. And I think with It's hard. Like, YouTube's very, very competitive, but I do think I have the skill set and taste to be able to do really well on there.
It's not competitive for you.
Yeah.
Because this is what I was saying to Max Sturdivant the other day. There's always room for a winner. So if you're going to win and you're going to blow everyone out of the water, there's not really many people that have your background. Because if I look on YouTube right now, how to train martial arts without brain damage, how many people are going to be as qualified as you? Don't want brain damage from boxing or sparring. There's this guy, homeless Ninja Kennedy, who looks like he's just finished up at the I don't know, sparring or something. He's at the gym. Yeah. And he got 160,000 views 6 years ago.
Yeah.
And 5 years ago, MMA without brain damage, ?
Yeah.
5 years ago, 2 years ago, is martial arts worth the risk of serious injury? 2 years ago. Pro fighters' thoughts on brain damage, 30K views 1 year ago. None of these guys have any sense of any real brand.
Yeah.
So it's like when you look at the space and you see like, wow, there's this massive market gap for sick branding. There's a massive market gap for a super, super qualified person to talk about it. There's no competition because you're a one of one in that space. So all it is, and we can go through some stuff on this, but your YouTube has to become a machine. So if I was you, and like I said, if we're under the context of we're business partners and we're going to try and scale this to like 100K a month, 200K a month, 300 or more, I'm thinking you are spending 3 hours every single morning on YouTube, as in writing your scripts, doing your edits, organizing the edits, reviewing stuff, because that is by a mile your highest leverage. Because you've also got your product stuff, but you've also got a couple of hours a day outside. Because if you're going to, like the way we work for 1000X is just 5 hours a day of like, that's your focused hours. And then all your admin and stuff, if you have to talk to people in meetings, that's the rest. Like fulfillment. So you could easily do like 2 to 3 hours. And then you could easily have the number 2 is still going to be your product stuff. So it's still going to be your product stuff. And then number 3 is going to be your newsletter. So immediately I'm seeing that and you're saying, because all this has to go here, and I won't get too deep into that stuff. And this is going to start looking quite ugly. But these, everyone's signing up for the lead magnets. You have a newsletter. And this is where you do all of your selling.
Because I've got about 6,000 emails at the moment, which is not crazy, but if the YouTube gets pumped, it will obviously grow.
Exactly, and the YouTube is getting pumped with the like the specific lead magnets in the description, and you can promote those 2-3 times in the video. Hey, if you want the full guide on how to start, or like a protocol, or an exact plan, or an exact whatever, the click rate on those goes nuts. And then also with your Twitter, because you're making so many YouTube videos. And when I say so many, I mean 1 to a week, 1, 2, 3, real high quality. Because that will take that amount of time. A lot of that is the routine. So if you're busy or you don't structure your days very intentionally, it's really damn hard to do that or make that amount of content. It's really, really.
And I think like the editor that I've got made the sparring video, and I think did a killer job of that. I think what I need is someone that can get quicker turnaround times, because I was literally on the phone to him yesterday, and I was like, we need more speed with what we're releasing here. Whether that means that I need to help him with that editing process, whether that means I need to get somebody else to help him do the research for the B-roll, things like that. That's the biggest, in terms of like the more of the top of the funnel focused videos, that's been the biggest reason why we've released at that cadence. Because when we have released stuff, it has done well. So would you say that the biggest focus from a content standpoint should be building the best machine, like the most well-oiled machine on YouTube that you possibly can?
Yes. And this goes for a lot of people as well. All of your problems disappear with 100,000 YouTube subs. That a lot of them even probably disappear with a consistent posting schedule at 10,000 subs. Which it might sound unachievable, but if you're as good as you are at YouTube, because you've put in a lot of the work, the foundational stuff to understand, okay, this is how you position it, this is how you get the attention.
When you say 10,000
subs.
Well, I'm nearly there.
Exactly. Like you're at like about 8.5. So it's just a consistent posting schedule, and also the optimized, it's not really the back end, because this is middle because you have your top of funnel, you have your 10,000 subs, let's say, or your 100,000 subs.
Yeah.
That has to go to nurturing stuff, which is these, and you have to do your newsletter 3 to 5 times a week.
Yeah.
And that's really actionable stuff. And you've got all these opt-ins from here.
Yeah.
So it's important that you spend your good amount of time, because these are basically your products. Then you have your newsletter. That might take you half an hour a day to write something just short, sharp, punchy, 100 to 300 words. That's just really good.
Yep.
And you'll get people begging for this. You'll get people begging for these rather than probably
pushing those.
Yeah, which is what you want to avoid, is that people are going to be, you don't want to be like here's my Gumroad PDF, here's my XYZ. Yeah. It's a bit more of a better way to do it and maintain authority.
Absolutely.
Problems that you're going to face?
I think that another thing as well in terms of the YouTube frequency is also making sure that the guys that I do have one-on-one, that I'm fulfilling them to the degree that I want to fulfill them at as well. So that's probably something I've also been cognizant of, because basically Monday through to Wednesdays when I run calls with those guys. And then that's like, I never want, and that might mean that I need to take a rev cut in terms of, because I've scaled back some of my guys that weren't necessarily going and following the plan that we wanted to integrate. Like I had some crypto guys that just weren't doing what was, like they were still happy to pay me, but they were like, I wasn't happy with the level of involvement that they had in the one-on-one stuff. I cut them off in order to give me more time to facilitate the content machine. Would you say that it is worth, obviously you don't want to be like cooking yourself month to month in terms of the rev that you're making, but even taking like a pay cut for the next 1-2 years and then just pouring more of that time into the content.
Well, you have to be thinking, what's my routine? Because we can get rid of this and remake it a bit better later. I just wanted to have that visual so you could kind of see what I meant.
And with the lead magnet and shoulder protocol, that's exactly what I'm looking to build out at the moment. So it's good that from you saying that as well, that's basically what I'm already targeting to do. But it's a matter of building machine around that, which is the biggest thing.
Yes. So what I want you to walk away from here with, which we obviously had discussed, is a really clear, exact plan of this is the exact shit that I need to do. So when I'm looking at your routine, how many hours a week, how many hours a day do you work?
Yeah, good question. I started around 8, and then sometimes it depends what I need to get done. Sometimes it's like, if I'm training at night, it'd be like, I go from 8 all the way until like have lunch, obviously train for like 1.5 hours, 2 hours, do a bit more work when I get home and then finish. So I haven't I've got Google Calendar stuff blocked out every single day, but I haven't crunched the numbers in terms of like hourly.
All right.
I work basically every day.
So it's almost like the thing that I really would want to say is, if you don't take full control of your calendar and your schedule, it's going to take control over you. So all of a sudden, when you have this shit you need to do, non-negotiably, because you're like, we need to grow, when that's non-negotiable, and you have, oh shit, what if I have to train here? What if I have a meeting that you get completely ruined? So like routine-wise, like let's say you wake up.
Because at the moment, I spread all my clients across, so we catch up by like every 2 weeks. So that means that I can spread all of my clients across Monday to Wednesday. Sometimes there's a couple calls that day, sometimes it's flooded, but it kind of depends. So there is some semblance of structure in terms of when I know for a fact like Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, no clients, I can just rip a video idea and things like that. So,
and they're all based around the world, aren't they? So you have people in the US.
Mainly US,
US, okay. So this is what I do. So I'm not saying this is what you necessarily have to do, but I'll give you context what I do. So 4:50, I'll wake up. 5 a.m, I'm doing cardio. Because I realized if I got straight to work, my brain wasn't on for like an hour and a half. So I was like, I'm going to do cardio throughout the day. I'm going to go to the gym throughout the day. Why don't I just put that in the brain dead time that I have here? So then by the time I'm at 6 a.m, I'm doing hour one of work, 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. This is breaking as well, so I'm going to have to ruin the aesthetic of the red. So 7 to 10 a.m. I'm on calls with
US.
With EST.
Yeah.
Then I'm probably going to have a coffee at 10.
Yep.
So 10 to 10:30. Might have a coffee.
Yep.
A little snack, whatever, like eat, whatever.
Yep.
Then I'll do 11 to, how many hours? 12, 1, 2, 3. I'll just pull up my calendar here, actually. So 7 to 10's calls, and that's scheduled out every single day.
Yep.
And then I'll usually do till about 3 or 4. So 11, let's just say to 3 p.m. This is blocked to never be opened.
Yep.
Wow, this pen's failing me. So that's blocked to never be opened.
Yep.
So that's
deep
1,
work.
2, 3, 4 really strong hours.
Yep.
I've just had a rest and a coffee, because what happens is if you go on calls here, you do get a little bit fatigued.
Yeah.
Your brain gets a little fatigued. So here, I'll have a coffee, just breathe, go outside, go for a walk,
Yep.
get some sun or something, even if you do a cardio session there.
Yep.
3 p.m. is my ideal train.
Yep.
So if I'm going to do gym, if I'm going to go hit the sauna, if I'm going to go do whatever, I'll
Yep.
train. Usually get back to my desk at around 5 p.m. because I don't want to train after 5. It gets too busy.
Yeah.
I don't know about you if you're doing like martial arts
Classes, yeah.
classes, that might mess it up.
Yep.
But I'll do admin, and then 7 p.m. I'll do EOD routine, which is basically get out of the office, completely shut down my brain.
Yep.
Plan tomorrow, review the day, etc.
Yep.
And then get to bed by hopefully 8:39.
Yep.
I would probably view that and say most people would say that's rather on the extreme side, but it's almost difficult to miss stuff that you want to do, just cause you've got 2 hours there to train, and you've got 5 p.m. onwards is admin and EOD. That varies in the volume that it is, so you might not even have that much admin. Again, the calls will also vary.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of days where, let's say I don't have any calls, let's say it's a quiet day. Like you said, if you've got days blocked, all of a sudden your 7 to 10 opens up. You've got your cardio done by 6.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden your 6 to 11 is just your work.
Yeah.
The rest of the day is pretty clear. So actually when you take control of your schedule in that way, it seems like it's a lot, but that's the conservative shit. Okay, I've got 3 hours to take calls if I must.
Yeah.
And then if you have people in the UK, Dubai, or in Australia, you take them here from 5 onwards.
Yep.
That is the single highest ROI thing you could do today. And I say that to pretty much everyone. If there was one thing that you'll walk away with, it's doing this like a schedule similar to this, and you can just bring it up and down based on
the setup
when you're training, when you've got classes, whatever.
Yeah.
And in your first couple hours, I would start off with newsletter and post a tweet.
Yep.
So when I say newsletter, I mean newsletter plus tweet.
Yeah.
Because what this does is I'll do my newsletter first thing every morning.
Yeah.
And it just lets you start thinking, start rolling a little bit more.
Yeah.
Compared to if you go straight into your best task. Just to sort of help you skip that phase where you try and do your hardest work in the first hour.
Yeah.
First hour is usually a little bit slower.
Yeah.
Second and third will always be your strongest.
Yeah.
And if you have to break it up, it'll be your second and third in the second block.
Yeah.
That are usually the strongest. So you'd put your YouTube in there, and you'd usually put your product work in there as well, depending on what's more pressing. Like if you have a product launch, you'd put the product up, and you'd have your scripting there as well. But ideally, you push through doing everything until you can hire more people.
Yeah.
Because in the future, you can have a script writer, you can have more editors, you can have people controlling that and thinking about it for you. But my initial one would be something like, what do you think about that? Do you have objections to that? Or?
No, I think I run a very similar setup in terms of calls in that time slot for US, because most of my guys are in the US. I think it's more so like keeping it blocked as 3 hours, because I have it a bit more open than that. So then someone might book in at like a 2 o'clock and it cooks everything.
The thing is, like, there will be times where you have to sacrifice that, because this important person wants to take a call at this time, and you just say, fuck it, I'll open it up, and it is what it is. But the problem is when you don't have it set up like that, people will voluntarily go into the slots you don't want.
Yeah.
And if that happens consistently,
you just lose that momentum.
You just don't even do anything.
Yeah.
And that happened to me for so long. And then when I got on this schedule, I think month on month, it actually doubled my productivity each month compared to now, where it's like, if I don't do this, not that I freak out, but it's more like I would so much rather just cinch into my routine and then just smash it. It makes you so comfortable because what happens is when it gets to 5 p.m., 7 p.m., you're just so relaxed and so happy that you're like, I wrote, 5,000 words of copy today, edited a YouTube video, had all these calls, did all this stuff, very tangible. You go to bed, head hits the pillow, and
you're
done.
Thinking about stuff. Yeah,
exactly. It's absolutely perfect. So I would do that, and I would be thinking, in terms of the YouTube stuff, like content system wise, what do you think it would take to post 3 videos a week?
I'd have to either edit myself, which I'm slow, like I'm not
too slow.
It's not a good use of my time. Like my time needs to be spent upskilling and actually separating myself from everyone else. And because I think my ability to ideate and come up with ideas is quite good. So I need to be spending time, because the idea in the first place is what makes the video grow so much.
Most of your ideas will come
when you're
on your walk.
When you're not doing work. It's whenever you're not doing work.
I've never ever come up with a single good idea at my desk. Ever. Like, it's almost impossible.
Like the limitation is at the moment, it's not the lack of ideas. I've got a pantheon of ideas that I could write. Like even, I've probably got like 70 videos that I could rip. It's more so getting scripts written out and then transferring that to the biggest thing is going to be the editing process. Because I think the way that I'm wanting to do stuff and the most successful videos I've made have been quite B-roll heavy. And me doing all the research for that. Sometimes I've done because when I write out a script for a video, I've got comment, like each line has a different comment of like, it might be
the purpose.
It might be a specific even YouTube B-roll link. Or it might be, I need Conor McGregor doing X, Y, and Z here. So I don't do that all the time, and my editor's gotten actually quite good at finding that B-roll for me. But it's like his turnaround time isn't good enough.
So number 3, so within the content system, it's like we've got to get good at recruiting. And when it's recruiting, it's VA editors, because VAs can edit very well if you find the right ones and if you have the time to train them. But it's much more obviously leveraged if you can have the system is really what's going to differentiate you. I wouldn't start with 3. The reason I said 3 is just because it's like, if you had to hit 3, what would you do?
You want it needs to be, I don't think it's going to be a lack of, like, firstly it'll be video editors, then it will be me, basically. I think a good idea, because I've worked with some guys that are like MMA article writers, as an example, for them just to like write a bit more about the history of, as an example, of the brain damage video. Just to contextualize some of that a little bit more, just so I don't, because I look at the highest ROI stuff for me is getting better at my craft, which is the injury rehab side and strength conditioning, health and fitness, things like that, to differentiate and build like a significant moat around what I do, as well as, because I think it's a big moat to be able to build as much traffic as I have as well. The biggest limitation by far is keeping that same amount of quality, but doing that at volume. That's the thing that needs to be curated. And I was literally thinking about that yesterday and what that would take.
Well, I think the biggest thing is like, it's going to take a certain amount of time, and it's less about how do we compress the time. It's more about how do we find the time to prioritize it. Because really, when people say they have no time, it just means they have different priorities. Because if something's massively high priority,
you'll do it.
Time doesn't matter. So I think it's really just more about setting, oh shit, if I do this well, if I do a YouTube product and newsletter insanely well, like you're going to be doing 7 figures a year, and it won't. It'll just take time. I think it's really just having that very clear strategy of, my YouTube is going to unlock the world. My product is going to unlock the world, and my newsletter is going to show the world that. Because you can't really put that much high level content on YouTube, because it gets a little bit too, you don't want it to be too complex. Because obviously you're optimizing for traffic. You want to send them to the lead magnets And I would say the newsletter is kind of just, I would almost, if I could write that again, I'd say writing.
Yeah.
Because that's going to be your lead magnets. That's going to be your newsletter. That's your tweets. That's your stuff where you're just like, sit down, coffee, let's go, we're writing.
Yep.
That'll probably be your first hour of the day.
Yep.
That's the key. In terms of the funnel and how it's going to be structured, 1-2 videos a week. And that has to happen, wind, rain or hail.
Yeah.
That's got to become like a standard of like, I don't care if anything happens.
Yeah.
My video is going to go up.
Yeah.
The same way, like, I'll put this out just because I said it to everyone in 1,000x leads. I said, I'm going to do 1 reel a day for the next 1,000 days. And I don't give a fuck I don't care. Like, I don't care if I'm in the hospital. Yeah. Because I did my ACL. I'll be like, fuck. I'll post some motivational speech from the hospital bed while on the green whistle. Yeah. Just for the culture. Because, I don't know, from my experience, unless I make a personal standard about something, it's so easy just to say,
slip it off.
It's just like, oh, no, I wasn't going to do it. I would commit to at least 1 YouTube video a week plus 1 podcast. Yeah. Because you can do that. Yeah. And once you have the podcast, it might take 2 or 3 hours to produce. Maybe. Do your prep, do the actual interview. Yeah. Then I'm saying, all right, I'm making a thumbnail. I'm going to position it awesomely. And that's going to go up. That might cost you a few hours a week. Yeah. And then you've got your video, which if you're only doing 1 video, you can spend 30 hours on that video of personal time. Yeah. And post it. Yeah. Yeah. The thing is, because this is going to be slower to start, you have to schedule them out in advance. That's what we're doing now. Like what I'm having to learn is that if I want to have an editor, if I want the thumbnail ready, if I want all this stuff ready so I can keep it on schedule, I have to record it the week before and get ahead. Yeah. So it's just that process of like, all right, maybe I have to script 2 videos in 1 weekend and just go full autist just to like actually get that out, get ahead. And then when you have the position to say, okay, I've got this stuff ready, it's the best. It's like, all right, I've got 3 videos in the bank, get the thumbnail ready, get that ready, schedule it out. And it's like, wow. For example, Matt, it's currently 1st of June. Matt's got videos till the 21st of June, scheduled daily videos. His videos are a bit different where it's just him doing stuff. So that's like an autist edge, I suppose, that not all of us have. Some are more autist than others. And the quality of those is more bottom of funnel, so it's not really required to put that amount of bandwidth into it. Yeah. But the point is, absolute standard. This is built in. This is a built-in standard, so that's not a problem for you. Like, you're going to obsess over that just because of who you are. Yeah. But this is one that you have to imprint. Yeah. So when it comes to standards, the stuff that I've had success with is like reminding myself multiple times a day and opting into it. Yeah. So I use work forms. So when I'm doing this, I'll put a 60-minute timer on. Yeah. At the end of the 60 minutes, I'm submitting a form, a Google form, that says, why am I doing this? What did I do in the last hour? Do you agree to do 5 focused hours of work per day, every day? Do you agree that YouTube, newsletter, and product are your 3 highest points of leverage and you will do these things no matter what every single day? Yes, I do agree. And it's just continual opting in. Opting in. And then I think I have one as well that's like, humans have a tendency to stop doing successful actions because they're idiots. Do you agree that you will, like, and then it's like, write out your successful actions, and then opt in again to continue doing them. And it's YouTube, product, newsletter. Yeah. And I write that 5 times a day. Yeah. So it's like, I view my own brain as a lizard. Like, I've got a lizard brain. Yeah. And I have to program my lizard brain the same way someone would program an AI to just be like, we are doing this. This is the direction, and you have to consciously do that 5 times a day. Yeah. That's not that you have to do that. That's how I really imprint the standard of I'm going to do this. Yeah. And like I said, that's not an issue for you because it's just that. Yeah. Then the newsletter, that's just a daily one. You can build a habit of that, no doubt. And then you do that, and you work on this, and you work on this, and you work on this. That unlocks the world funnel-wise. Yeah. Would you say that's like conclusive for you to just be like, all right, just do that?
Absolutely. And the only thing, because that was something we spoke about off camera, was the market of martial arts as a whole, even in terms of like monetization of audience. Do you think it will, based on, and I can obviously give you some insights into the market itself as well, do you think it will primarily be something that is a product specific business at the end of the day? Like not necessarily like a full-fledged coaching thing, because if a lot of people in the martial arts space just can't afford the time it would take or the financial investment of that. You know what I'm trying to think of, like what's going to be sold at the end of the day.
Yeah, so the offer suite.
Yep, exactly.
So the way we look at offers is like you have free,
yep,
which would be content.
Yep.
You have gated, which would be a lead magnet.
Yep.
And you have paid, which would be your paid products,
yep,
masterminds, whatever.
Yeah.
This is probably going to be the third bottleneck, which kind of has to be solved first, which is going to be like kind of the macro direction or like the avatars that you want to deal with.
Yeah.
And I suppose the question around that would be like, how badly do you want to stay in MMA? Like if you could make MMA make you money, would you stay? Or do you just want to go broader because you think it makes sense to go broader?
I just think that with obviously having like combat sports combined with physiotherapy combined with strength and conditioning, like it makes you very, very individual and one of one. But I still think I can still do that with a much larger TAM, just because of the way that I do things is very different to like basically anybody else in the traditional rehab system. So, but then it makes it harder to make content when it isn't as specific. Like if you're talking about, because I wouldn't even know how to categorize an ICP, because if you're trying to help someone with a shoulder injury who's like a baseballer, a bodybuilder, a fighter, like all of those things at once, it's very, very hard to accommodate for all of that.
So it's more about the outcome than avatar, because there's multiple people that can hit that outcome.
Yeah.
When that happens, because that does happen semi-frequently, the avatar isn't 3 to 10 employees, online business, this. The avatar is people who resonate with this outcome.
Yeah.
So all your stuff has to become about the outcome. So the outcome, aka the offer, aka what you get, is which kind of comes above this. The outcome is like,
because that's the thing. Even on Twitter, a lot of the guys that reach out to me, they're not all. Some of them don't give a single fuck about combat sports. They just like the approach that I have around injuries.
The outcome is like Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
The outcome is you become Batman. Like, and what that actually means is really excellence. It's like you're gonna reach your potential. You're gonna be fit, healthy, strong, sharp, look good, feel good, that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
So it's more about how do you make content around that and then sell your stuff around that with free stuff, gated stuff, and paid stuff.
Yep.
So it's like, what does it mean? So what are the steps to becoming Bruce Wayne? This is where we start reverse engineering, like what's actually in the product. Yep. So what are the steps? Well, number one,
it'd be some form of hybrid training approach.
Yeah. So number one, you're going to be hybrid training, because you need to be jacked and you need to be lean. And then there's a lot of subcategories under that that are very, very relevant. And you also have, in brackets, the cardio you're doing is MMA.
Yep. That's already a massive TAM.
Which is a massive TAM. So you can see here how when you focus on the outcome, you have the stuff that comes in here. And when you talk about content and building your TAM,
that's how you put
hybrid training, MMA, strength, injury, because here, number 2 is going to be recovery.
Yep.
And what you have under recovery, brother, you've got ice baths, sleep, saunas, you've got focus, you've got your central nervous system, you've got managing your brain, which is number 3. You've got
even mindset stuff around combining the athlete with the businessman, which is a big thing that I talk about.
Mindset plus philosophy as well.
Yeah.
So this is basically like your thesis or your ethos.
Yeah.
You could go on for days about this, and that's stuff you love to talk about.
Yeah.
Which is something that really resonates with me. I love the way you talk about it. I love the way you look. I love the way you think in the least possible. Like let's just pause. Let's pause. But actually though, because the first thing I said to you today if we get the camera to zoom in on the t-shirt,
coming soon, fellas.
First thing I said was, nice top, that's fucking sweet. Where'd you get it? You said I made it. So there's a mindset to that. I'm just being like, fuck you, I'm making it.
Yeah.
That's a mindset that resonates with people, that you can sell. This is annoying me now as well. Maybe it's just getting too dry. There's a mindset that you can sell that people will buy into. And when I say sell, that's probably one you'd lean more towards free. Then you have your paid, which is when you release these fucking top quality line of clothing for, whatever price you want to do it. Name your price.
Yeah.
Number 4, so you have your hybrid training, your recovery, your mindset and philosophy. You have your mental performance.
Yep.
You have your aesthetics.
Yeah.
And under recovery comes nutrition.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
Sleep.
All that stuff's really important. You've got great content there. And number 6, your business is big as well.
Yeah.
So you've got to have a business, because the thing is about the guys you want to work with, they resonate with business a lot, but not business in a way where you've got to have an e-com store and be drop shipping and have PDFs and Gumroad and all that shit.
Yeah.
It's business in that it's the vessel.
Yeah.
It's the vessel of expression or whatever. It's basically the exact same as you'd view martial arts, where people view business as their craft. That's how you can do it, because that kind of ties in with everything else.
That's how I look at business anyway. It is it is the best personal development vehicle you could possibly go down, because your business is a reflection of you. So
exactly, and you can't hide.
Yeah.
You can't hide with business, which is great. So there'd be the stuff that I'd be making content about.
Yeah.
And that opens up your TAM, content-wise, ridiculously.
Yeah.
And then at the bottom, on your newsletter, you just convert them on paid offers around all of this stuff. And your monthly recurring offer, which might be some type of mastermind, some type of one-to-one, I'm going to teach you how to do all this. I'm going to teach you how to optimize this. I'm going to teach you how to optimize this. I'm going to teach you how to optimize this. I'm going to teach you how to optimize this, or at least have some sort of discounts to my Loro Piana, whatever it may be. And then also you have the network effect of the people I have in this are all locked in businessmen, because they've all afforded to enter this network or whatever. And that's how it works, because you get so much top of funnel with this shit, and you're putting them through the lead magnets, you're getting a lot of authority. Your YouTube channel's at 100K by now. So people are even asking you, you can even say in this, I'll teach you how to do my YouTube. Because as you're doing this, how elite will you become at all this shit? As you put in this routine, you're elite at YouTube, your product is A1, so you can actually teach product development in this mastermind. You have your newsletter, you're driving crazy value. And really, it all just fucking relies on this. So you're probably about you're a year away of routine from whatever you want.
Yeah.
Because this is like sexy as fuck. Like hybrid training, getting crazy traffic right now on all channels.
Yep.
Recovery always will. Mindset always will, because that's the biggest problem that anyone has, is always mindset, routine, philosophy. And mental performance is huge because of TikTok. Focus is a really big topic. Trust me. We have however many clients, 160 plus clients.
Focus.
Mental performance and focus is one of the biggest things that I didn't expect to be a massive problem, but is. So I put like 20 hours into a presentation about focus, absolutely ate it up. And the amount of people that said, I can't believe how much this helped me, was insane. And they're all business owners between 300K a year to 100 mil a year that are in there. So that's a massive problem. That's a bit higher in terms of the economically, like they make more money than the average. Free, gated, and paid products about this. Done. Doesn't matter. Because again, what outcome are we going for? You're not necessarily like selling the lifestyle. It's more the life. But that's when I said it's less about going out to a mansion and acting like you live there, you get your videographer and that bullshit. It's just about living that life. Because then when you turn the camera on, you're just in your gym. That's just where I am. Like, of course my office is my gym. Of course this is where I am. And the thing about this is that it's a little bit effortless. So, I mean, you do a really good job of that anyway. I think it's just about when you have beliefs about, for example, if you have a belief about this is how much content I want to make, I need to make it this good. It's got to be, if I want to make it this good, this is what I have to do. And this is now a requirement that I do this stuff, rather than if I want it to be this good, I have to spend this amount of time on it. Yeah. It's like, I need it to be this good. I need to post one a week. Fuck. And you're like, shit. If I need to post one a week,
what do I need to do?
And it needs to be really, really good, you got to be thinking, I need 20 hours a week just on my YouTube.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd be thinking. And you'd be thinking, fuck, I need to make that work. And all of a sudden, your brain starts to go crazy mode. And you're like, fuck, well, I've got to put this, I've got to drop this back on my calendar. I can't talk to this guy. I can't waste time doing this. I've got to push back my coffee day to Saturday instead of the weekday because I've got to be focused during these hours.
Yeah.
If I have a missus or if I have a partner, I've got to say, hey, babe, I'm about to go on a massive sprint. Let's go for a walk at 7 p.m. Instead of going for a lunch date.
Yeah.
And all these things, when you have the absolutely unbreakable standard that I'm going to be doing this is what my routine is. I don't care. I'm sorry. This is what's going to happen. Everything just slips into where it's meant to be. And it is the most peaceful and the best life that you could ever ask for, in my opinion. Because that's what I've been doing the last kind of 6 months to a year. And I don't know if I'm yet to see someone do it and not love it. As in this sort
of that's life. The thing, at the end of the day, if I wasn't wanting to push things as far as I wanted to, I'd work at a clinic. I'm not interested in that. Like, I'd rather sleep under a bus shelter than do that. So yeah, I think these specific 6 points, I think this thing here, and I've seen, the thing is as well, like, even you covering these specific bases, I've already thought of like top of funnel videos for those specific things. And then the nuance behind the hybrid training would be the either lead magnet, paid product. Because the thing is, that's like, what I know about this shit is going to be in the top 1% compared to like content around hybrid training. Even Nick Behrman, I think his name is.
Nick Barre, is that the one?
Nah, he's like the main hybrid athlete guy that like started that whole process. Like, there's tapping into, so this, massively trending, this.
Recovery is amazing.
This is like longevity stuff when it comes to like Brian Johnson.
Oh yeah. I didn't even...
Peter Attia, Huberman, like that's...
It's super hot.
Yeah.
Because you reposition, that's an awesome reframe.
Yeah.
Because it's longevity.
So you combine these things, two things, and my principle for this, it's not longevity, it's durability. Because as someone who wants to be, if you want to train martial arts, you need to be durable. If you want to survive in business, no matter what the environment is, you need to be durable. So those things transcend across all domains of your life, that durability. Well, I think when I think longevity, I think literally wrapping yourself up in bubble wrap in order to facilitate living an extra 5 years. But durability is,
It is fucking durable.
Put durability there, mate. But durability is like throwing shit at yourself, but then being able to actually handle those stresses.
It's like robust. It's robustness almost.
Yeah.
Sorry, that fucking pen's dead. So I think with that, all of a sudden that gives you hopefully clarity on...
It gives me a fuck ton of things to play with.
Of just, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
You make your strategy, you stick to it like glue.
Yep.
And you just say, if I do this, I'm pretty sure I'm going to win. And then you stick to it, and then it's going to work. But let's say it doesn't work. You're like, all right, that strategy didn't work. What did I do wrong?
Yeah.
Because like it's the same as, like if you follow NBA at all, like, you know, Steph Curry.
Yep.
There would have been a time where Steph Curry and the Warriors were like, or Steve Kerr, the coach, would have been like, when we shoot 30 plus threes in a game, or when we shoot this amount of threes in a game, we win 65% of the time. Or when we do this, we win.
Mm.
So it's like inside the four walls of Crucial HQ or Combat Therapist HQ, inside the four walls, you internally, in your own brain, say, if I do this, I'm winning.
Yep.
So when I'm doing all this stuff, I don't care if it's going to take a year, 2 years.
Yeah.
Because I've set the value inside my four walls. If I do this and it's going well and I'm progressing, I'm winning.
Yeah.
And you tell yourself that until eventually time catches up and it's like, holy shit.
And I've always played the long game. Like, I've never tried to, like, and that's because I've seen people get burned by doing that. They're hot for 2 years, but then they're off the face of the earth. What's the point of being good for 2 years? You want to be great for as long as possible.
Yeah. And this branding stuff, like this, like when you become more Bruce Wayne, it goes from Bruce Wayne to like George Clooney.
Yeah.
And like,
you can do this for life. Like, and that's
exactly.
And that's the thing as well. Like, I want my business and what I work on to be something that I find appealing as well. And I do think the aesthetic side of things, the martial arts side of things, I think that's incredibly important for every man. So it's not like I'm, I don't know, running some business that I absolutely hate, but I'm just obsessed with money. Like, this can be an extension of my life.
Yeah. And that's awesome, because what happens there is with your lead magnets, with your paid products, with your content, you're going to automatically have high standards for what you put out.
Yeah.
The standard that I hope you can get from this is, okay, if I've got that standard for my lead magnet, I need to work on it for 5 hours a day for 2 weeks and put 60 hours into it in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting it out at this rate.
Yeah.
Because when you do that, it's insane. Like I'm writing a lead magnet right now. It's 23,000 words, and I've done it in the last week. So it's like, that's just because for the last 6 months I've constantly been telling myself, go faster, do more, fucking faster.
Instead of you saying, all right, I'm going to make this 23,000 lead magnet, it's going to take me 6 months. You're like, I'm doing this 23,000 lead magnet in a fraction of that time.
It's less that I even had a goal. It was that I'm going to solve the problem of what the lead magnet's about, which is making a mil profit a year from a service-based business.
Yep.
It's, I'm going to do what's necessary to make it completely elite as fast as I possibly can.
Yeah.
So it's just like, it's just getting to the point where it's like, I don't even care. Like, I don't care what it takes. I'm not doing anything else. I want this to be elite, because I'm the same as you, where it's like, I would rather have something that is just absolutely at my standard, but more.
Yeah.
And even when you read it back and you're like, this is pretty good, it's like, just make it better.
Yeah.
Just make it way better.
Yeah. It's like the shoulder one that I'm working on. I'm already like version 2.0. As soon as I made version 1.0, I'm like, nah, there's so much more that I can add to this, and it's already the free stuff. But yeah, I think that's the thing as well. It's like, even just as a conversation in general, it's being a perfectionist, but also being a perfectionist with speed. If you can do that, like that, I feel like that is a very, very rare, because perfectionists are usually procrastinators. They don't do anything. So if you can, and that's the thing as well, the principle that I live by is basically, I want my 90% to be someone's 2, 3, 4, 500% in terms of what, if I'm ripping stuff out at 80 to 90% of my highest quality bandwidth, but it's 10x better than everybody else in the industry, then my 80 to 90 is good enough. You know what I mean?
100%.
But that takes obviously a lot of, you need to be good. You need to be very, very good. You need to be skilled to do that.
It takes, it costs all of the other tasks that you would have prioritized. Yeah. And that's really what the cost is. So the cost of it is like, I'm not sure how old you are, and I'm sure you're around mid-20s.
Yeah. The
cost of it is, I have good mates that I accidentally missed their 21st birthday because I didn't realize what day it was.
Yeah.
And I remembered that they had their 21st, and I had to call them 2 days later and be like, fuck, sorry, mate.
Yeah.
I'll take you out to dinner or something because I've just forgotten your birthday. I can't believe it. What a dick I am. Yeah. And it's real, but you're kind of also like, well, I don't really regret it because I got to do my stuff. I got to hang out with my Google Doc. But the thing that you touched on that I really liked was the perfectionist thing. So the perfectionist thing is kind of, it's a nuanced topic that I'm not sure people have really solved. But the thing that I repeat in my brain is that you can either delay taking action to reach perfection by like trying to just famoose your way to perfection, which I'm not sure works, or you can just take action to reach perfection, which is like, I didn't even think about this lead magnet. I was like, I'm just going to write it.
Yeah.
I'm going to take relentless action. I'm going to take stupid action and do 35 hours on it. And then I'll see if it's good. I'll see how good it is. Yeah. And I'm not even like, I'm going to launch it and just be like, I don't know, like, did that work? Like, I did my minimum standard of work, which is putting 40 hours into one doc.
You're probably already thinking about version 2.0 as soon as you drop it. It's like my shoulder one. That's what I emailed. Like, I was like to them, you have lifetime access because I am working on version 2.0 already with all these other guys that I'm like, because I'm very lucky with the network that I've got and I've curated that I do have. Like, now some people say, oh, what you're making is the best in the world when it's usually dog shit. Like, I'm literally talking to the best guys in the industry. So it's just a matter of the challenge is then like building a content system so that people can get access to that. That's how I look at, because content stuff, I don't really give a shit about being famous or anything like that. I actually detest, I think fame is like a net negative.
Like low ROI.
Yeah. But I look at it more of a vehicle of like, I genuinely think that I can change the way people view injury rehab as well. Not something where it's boring and depressing, but it's more like it's an actual enjoyable process. And you can get back to things, and you've had limitations for years and years and years, you can actually get back to doing stuff.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. That missionary versus mercenary vibe is really big. Like, I talk to a lot of guys that are running their business, like, if I don't hit 100K a month, my head is going to explode. And that's kind of the ideology.
Yeah.
People that think that way really struggle to. People that are like, no, I'm going to be the fucking best. I'm going to have the best shit.
Yeah.
They just magically make all the money that they want. And that kind of brings me back to what I was saying at the start. I can't remember if this was off camera or on camera, but when you said you think the bottleneck for you would be dropping bad stuff or putting something out that was bad, I think it's just traffic. I think it's just how big your brand can get. Because like,
when I mean bottleneck, I think that's like a personal, for me, when you were saying like the negative aspect, it would be for me, like the last thing I would want to do is sacrifice quality. Because I've even spoken with people that are like, oh yeah, just like start ripping a ton of lead magnets on Gumroad. Even just the association of being on that platform. For anyone else, they wouldn't give a shit. But for me, it's like, I don't want to be associated with shitty Gumroad products because that's not the brand.
Yep.
And that's not me.
Yep. I think the main action item here is that if your brand and your systems and stuff are going to be X, everything has to match the brand.
Yeah.
As in, if I'm going to be this, I have to work this hard. I know I've got an outlandish standard that I don't want to be on Gumroad. I know I don't want to do all the stuff that normal people do just because I have a personal standard of this.
Yeah.
It's like, if I'm going to tell them fuck off, I'm not doing that.
You can't automatically just change. And I don't know, like, before you and I started interacting, like, what was your, like, obviously we connected through Twitter. Like, what was your perception of the shit that I was doing? Because I always find that interesting.
Yeah, I was like, this is fucking sick. I was like, this should be bigger.
Yeah.
Basically. I was like, you should be making a lot more money and doing a lot in a bit of a broader market. Yeah. Like, you should be on Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
Like, that's what I'd be thinking. I'd be thinking, I need to be good enough and big enough to get on Joe Rogan. So that's what I mean when I say, what's stopping you from getting on Joe Rogan? Like, you've got to probably get a little bit of traction with content. And that's like what we said with the system and the stuff you're talking about and all this shit. That also comes with the craft that you've already ticked off a lot of those boxes, but it needs to obviously be a continual thing.
Yeah.
And then also just the branding and then, of course, never dropping bad stuff, but also like the ethic and the amount of reps and hours that it costs to get all that shit is like, oof, we got to work.
Yeah.
So to sort of answer your question in a tighter way, it'd be like, I just thought it was fucking sick.
Yeah.
Because I love UFC, which is like, I don't talk about it much. I love UFC.
Yeah.
Every Sunday I watch UFC. I call it UFC Sunday. And it's literally one of my favorite days of the week. And the best day of my entire life was watching Chris Gutierrez knock someone out in the first round. I put $10 on him to get the knockout. And then I ordered a burrito off Uber Eats using the money I just won. And then they gave me a free burrito because it was 2-for-1 burritos. And I was like, this is the best thing. This is literally the best day of my life. Had massive days of business, had awesome days of whatever. That's still the best day of my life.
Yeah.
Just because of how good it felt. So I love UFC. So I always watched your stuff and I was like, yeah, this is fucking awesome. You have to go viral. You have to get the attention that it deserves, and not to obviously glaze too much, but I thought it was really good.
Yeah.
In conclusion.
Yeah. No, I always find it interesting, even clients that I end up working with, like asking about what their perception of what I'm talking about is, because I always find that like, is the message, because the thing is, I'm not sitting down trying to curate a specific, like, I just post shit that I think's mad. Like, it's that simple. It's not like I'm trying to be someone that doesn't actually resonate with who I am. So yeah, it's always good to get those insights for sure.
Yeah, I would do that and just fucking amplify the shit out of it.
Yeah.
Like Ken, who's behind the camera, he was like, yeah, I just want to amplify stuff.
Yeah.
It's that simple. Like, I think just, you've got the base that's really strong. It's strapping the...
It's just traffic. We need, that's the rocket on the, it's the jetpack, isn't it?
Yeah. It's just strapping on like the skeleton or the, what's it called? Like a infrastructure. What do they put? Like the scaffold, the scaffolding. You put the scaffolding around the building. You've got the infrastructure there, the foundation, getting some systems going, getting the product really dialed in, and just getting really clear on, we're doing this. This is what's happening. I'm doing it. This is my internal, if we do this, we win moment.
Yeah.
And then just relentlessly pursue that, and then look back in 12 months and think, holy shit, that was awesome. And then you just do it again and again and again. And it's just like, that's what you do.
Yeah.
Like I always talk about Hormozy because he's got good insights, but he was like, yeah, you just do a sprint for 12 months. And in that 12 months, you change your life. And then you just do that same 12-month sprint again, over and over. And you just never stop doing it because you're addicted to it.
Yeah.
This is probably the first 12-month sprint. And if you can even just spend the next 12 months getting these 2 things dialed in, and these 3 things really locked, it is so over for the competition. Like, it's so astronomically over.
Yeah.
And because you're just going to get better at the YouTube strategy, the scripting, building the system around it. You get a bit more of a bigger budget to throw at editing, scripts, yada, yada, yada.
I'm kind of glad that I've done it in the order that I have, instead of having a ton of traffic but not actually, like, having the marketing side and the acquisition side dialed, but then fulfillment isn't great. But the thing is as well, it's like, if I've got a ton of traffic, that also allows me to bring some of the people which is what I'm doing with the shoulder guide. Like, I can, because I have contacts that are some of the best practitioners that aren't good at marketing, I can then, because I know guys that train UFC fighters. I know guys like, even like, I've got bigger audiences than guys that train Anthony Joshua, Calvin Harris, like all these guys. So I can actually give them a platform to help build their exposure as well. So they're like, from this standpoint, because I don't like, there's no physiotherapist where I'm like, fuck, I wish I had your life. So it's actually being someone where it actually makes the industry more appealing than just being like some nerd with like a rolled up shirt that like does some like massaging in a clinic, which isn't appealing at all. So there's even like I said, there's even a lot of benefit that, like, I could then teach people how I have built my specific system if they want to work for themselves and not be like every other physiotherapist. Because I think, like, I wouldn't even class myself as a physio anymore because I've got all these other skill sets that I've added into the mix as well. So
100%. And I think the biggest thing here is the person you're going to become as a result of doing this is so insane that your earning potential, like what you said, all of a sudden you can have physios under you because they're like, you just own the industry, and all of a sudden you're hitting referral partners like, hey, you're in that city. I've got this referral partner in that city. I've got this person in that city. I've got this person. I've got this recovery lab there, or this high performance lab there. You can go there, here, there, and everywhere. Even with getting people that have remarkable stories, seeing you as the authority and saying, I want to talk to you and get your platform. And you can almost say, well, I've got a bit of a platform. I want to go ahead and use your remarkable story, tell that on my platform, get way more traffic to me, get the brand association, and all of a sudden your YouTube strategy just like, just gets on steroids basically. And the only, really, there's nothing stopping you from doing that. It's just about
building a system,
just sticking to plans, systems, like all that stuff, and just bit of just spit shine and just brute work. We'll do it, and like, I'm excited. I think this is going to work like crazy, honestly.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, this has been super helpful as well.
Do you have any questions about anything that you'd want to go through? Obviously, there's YouTube strategy stuff that is probably like, that's a whole nother strategy, and I'm not too deep on that stuff, so I probably won't. I've
got a pretty good understanding of how YouTube works, just because, like I said to you, Wino and all those other accounts. Like, even me just realizing that packaging is 80% of the game is massive, because you could have the best video, but if it's packaged terribly, it doesn't really matter.
That's what I'm looking at your podcasts, and I'm like, you just have to stick to the rules. You know.
I kind of just had those there as like having an association play, but there's nothing. I could easily just change the
100%.
the thumbnail and title of that instantly. So
that's what I mean. I think you can really maximize those, because I didn't even watch them, but I look at it, I'm like, there's probably sick content with AJ's coach or whatever, his trainer.
Yeah.
You got to be thinking, I have to send this to as many people as I possibly can.
Well, yeah, how do I package it accordingly?
Yes, exactly. Because you could even throw a hook on there. You could throw, sick thumbnail. Because are you doing your own thumbnails?
No.
Whoever's doing them, they look pretty good.
Yeah.
It's just about, for example, that the Anthony Joshua part of that title is cut off my screen right now. So it's like I'm looking at it, like, oh damn, could have, like, easy low hanging fruit there.
Yeah.
And there's all this stuff you can do, which I think even just with the mindset and clarity and a bit of like 5 minutes of planning that you can now do, because you're like, all right, my standard's here. Fuck, all right, fine. I've got to do that. I've got to do that much effort. It'll just come as a byproduct almost.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's been sick to chat.
Yeah, 100%.
If that's,
appreciate your time, bro.
Yeah, no worries. If that's everything you've got, we probably wrap it there. You can, give yourself a shout out. Your YouTube channel, Jack Crucial, the combat therapist. Maybe we can edit it up on the screen. And on Twitter, what's your tag on Twitter?
I think it's just combat therapist.
Combat therapist on Twitter. Go check him out. Go learn some martial arts stuff, how to train martial arts without getting brain damage, how to fix your shoulder, how to fix your posture, how to build a thick neck. I know a lot of people in the online space could probably use that. Maybe even myself sometimes. But yeah, hopefully this was valuable for you, man, and hopefully everyone else got some value watching at home. And see you in the next one.
Appreciate it, bro.
Awesome.